It's 3:00, and darkness fell across the land. Jesus' final breaths signaled his impending death. And as he gave up his spirit, breathing his last, the veil was torn, the earth would shake, the rocks would split, the dead would come out of their tombs. The wrath of God and the ire of man and darkness were satisfied. His side would be pierced to ensure the confirmation of his death and the assurance that his bones would not be broken. It was the hour, the moment when darkness reigned. It was finished. Jesus became the curse. He incurred the wage of sin once and for all. Jesus asked his Father why he had forsaken him, referencing Psalm 22:1. My God, why have you abandoned me? Why are you so far away when I groan for help? He had to become sin and separate himself from God to fulfill the curse of God. He felt the weight of sin for the first time, knowing what it does to us. When we sin, we separate from him and feel abandoned because God will not share in our sin. He will always walk with us as we falter because of sin, but he will never be a party to the sin we have chosen to accept. When we do, we fracture from God. We separate ourselves from him. And Jesus became that for all the world, thus having to disconnect from God for the first time ever. He was fractured, separated from his Father for the first time because of us. He was the curse. The fury of God raged against him. He stood in the chasm and bore the brunt of the righteous fury, demanding the perfection we could never achieve. He crushed himself so that we would not have to. He took on the filth we have created because we could never be rid of the darkness that now dwells within us, called sin. We could never be good enough or offer enough to repair the schism between our Creator. Sacrifices had been burnt and killed and offered up time and time again, but it was not enough to satisfy his Father's desire for justice and love. So, he was beaten and killed and offered up as hell took a front row seat, seemingly victorious and oblivious as to the circumstances at hand. Jesus deserved nothing he was given. He was the spotless lamb brought to the slaughter because of the tension between heaven and earth. He could have called 10,000 angels to destroy the world and set him free. He could have unleashed heaven's fury upon the ungrateful children who had betrayed him. But he didn't. He quietly went to the cross, silently suffering alone. He was silently laid in the tomb until his hour would arise again. The enemy rejoiced as he was laid in the tomb, as the church fell silent, wondering what was next. It was in the silence that Jesus was working. It was in the silence the grave was readying for its defeat. While many waited in despair and prepared for a void of hopelessness, Jesus was working. Redemption was stirring. Darkness was unsettled. The lifeless body of our Savior began to twitch in the cold hands of the tomb. Death was beginning to lose its grip. So there is nothing inherently good about Good Friday from the surface. There's nothing good about what our sin has done to Jesus, so it seems. For the darkness of Friday may reign, but the good of Sunday is coming. The darkness of Friday portrays despair and finality, but the gates of hell would be confronted. Hope for the sinner and the saint, for the innocent and the murderer was coming. Hope for the broken, for the cursed, for the accused, and for the righteous was coming. And that is good news. As darkness fell on the just and the unjust, Jesus was working. As the church mourned over what could have been, Jesus was preparing for what will be and be forever. The grave would not be able to hold him, and death would soon bow at his feet. Let the church awaken. Sunday is coming. Jesus is coming.